Silhouette is for times when there's a bright thing before the subject and the subject is seen dark, right? You see, lens flare is when small units of sun hits the subject and some lines can be seen from, for example, the sun, as you see. Backlit is when the light is hit to the target from behind, and as you see, like behind it is black, right? Then we've got side lit. It's from sides, as you see. You see from that side, the target is being lit. Then we've got gel lighting. We've got colorful lighting, as you see, and these days gone viral, for example, on YouTube. And then we've got Venetian lighting, is when the light goes through a window or a curtain and creates shadows like this. And then we've got to talk about the next point that we need to mention, which is called movement speed. Right. So, in this structure that we want to create for our prompt, we also need to mention movement speeds. Now, once I'm going to just cover all of these, I'm going to read them quickly because I just want you to get acquainted with them, but later on we're going to get down to it, we're going to analyze it. I know this part can be a little boring, but it's important. You need to get an understanding first, and then we will practice. The next one is, the first one is dynamic motion, which is dynamic. It gives you the feeling of dynamic feelings, let's say. Then we've got slow motion, you all know it, right? It is slower than normal. Then we've got fast motion, faster than normal. And then we've got time lapse, which is super fast, right? Fast motion is only a little faster than normal. Then we've got movement types. In movement types, it is a little about what you want to happen specifically, and you need to use it to get insights and ideas for your videos. And at the end, of course, you can't list everything that happens in the world. There are merely verbs that happen, for example. For example, grows is this, emerges is like this, as you can see in the video. Explodes is like this, ascends like that, for horror films, for example. Undulates, as you see, like that. If you have a scene at sea. Warps, is when something like that happens in more surreal settings, right? You see, unreal things. Then we've got transform. As you can see, something transform from something else. Ripple is about waves. Then we've got shatters, as you can see. Unfolds, we've got it also, as you can see. If you, for example, write unfolds, it means like that thing you have mentioned will unfold. You can use it in promotional videos. And then we've got vortex, some sort of a whirlpool or whirlwind, as you see. And these are different styles that we have talked about previously. Cinematic, you see, styles. Lighting and mood also somehow is considered style too, but we can add it too. It's okay. Of course, I said that the style must be mentioned, right? For example, let me give you the list of the styles. These are different kinds of styles that you can dedicate to your prompt, which are very important, and by mentioning them, you will get more accurate results, more accurate to what you need in 2D animation, 3D animation, it's clear. Then we've got gameplay, realistic. Just check it out, read it one by one, and see what different styles you can give your prompt. And then at the end, if you have a promotional video that needs a text, you can do it. You can bold it, you can make it known, and many other things. All the videos you see here actually are generated by Runway. It's not something else. Varsity and embroidery, which is like embroidery on clothing, and that is it. So at the end, this is the structure you need to pay attention to when it comes to writing prompts: subject, camera movement, lighting and mood. If your movement has a specific speed, you need to mention it, and then finally your style. Well, there is another interesting point about writing prompts that you need to be aware of, which is using real artists. It means that you need to be like, for example, that artist in the real world, okay? So, for example, be like in the style of studio blah, or for example, like that person, generate this film, because they have been trained based on many other things. They can perform like that specific artist, right? Another important point that you need to pay attention to is that try not to write in a complicated way. Complexity is not what AI works based on, okay? So instead of writing, for example, a futuristic cyberpunk city with the flying cars and blah blah, you can write a futuristic city. Instead of writing bustling crowds and neon lights, you can write a futuristic city at night, glowing neon lights in the sky, crowds of people working, flying cars zooming, post. If you paid attention, writing the prompt piece by piece, is much better, as you see. I mean, in different bits, different parts, try to actually show the space to it, rather than a very big paragraph explaining everything, right? Do not use verbs, and try to work with titles, okay, to create the space and the right settings. For example, cyberpunk cities, futuristic cars, big crowd, things like this. You see, bits by bits, your prompt should consist of. Try not to write long prompts, and I think I've said everything about a good prompt, haven't I? About it being short. For example, this point should be adhered to. Instead of writing long prompts, avoid simplicity, write with simplicity. For example, a futuristic city, skyline at dusk, glowing neon lights, flying cars in the city. Instead of you can write this just like what we talked about, and then at the end you can use all these points for using Gen 3 Alpha that generates videos only by getting the prompt, generates the video from scratch, or you can also send something as a reference. Let's actually see one sample from the prompts that we talked about. For example, bustling Tokyo street at night, neon lights reflecting a wet pavement, cars moving slowly in traffic, the camera pans slowly. You see, at first the subject, let me just put it there for you. First, the subject, a bustling Tokyo street at night, and then the lighting. Now, it is important for you to mention all of them. The order is not that important. And then the lighting is mentioned, neon light reflecting off wet pavement, cars moving slowly, and then movement, I told you it should be slow, and then people walking in the rain with umbrellas. The scene is lit with dramatic contrast, emphasizing the glow of the neon signs and the reflections on the wet ground. And then we talked about the mood, as you see, the style. Lighting, mood, style were mentioned in different parts, of course, of the prompt. Let's see how that will be. Or, for example, another example of a good prompt we have here: a floating island in the sky. Of course, it might be difficult, it might not give you a good result, but we need to see. You see, we talked about subject and scene, lush green forest covering the island, waterfalls cascading down the sides into the clouds below. So far, the description of the scene. The camera circles the island slowly. This is camera movement, showing the, you see that? Camera movement. The panoramic view of the sky with bright sunlight piercing through the clouds and casting a golden hue over the landscape. And then the lighting and the mood. So let's see how that will be. Well, at the end, this is the result we got. And as you see, it is absolutely amazing. Of course, there was a problem, like it happens with AIs, the inconsistencies. So let's go over a prompt with a picture. Let's actually push Runway to its limits and see how great it can be. We can give it a Sora prompt with a picture from a desert. This is our prompt. So the sand dunes begin to ripple like waves transforming into a serial ocean under a glowing moon. The camera slowly pans upward to reveal the constellations moving across the night sky in a dreamlike sequence. Let's see if it can generate what we want, a difficult surreal like this, or not. Well, this is not that surreal, but the result is good. You see that? It did not transform into an ocean, but it was something. You see, like the result is interesting from the initial picture. Something like that is good, is acceptable. But you need to, again, like edit it, work again on it. Like you barely get one video on the first try, the right video. You need to try it a lot. Right. These were the principles you needed to know about writing prompts. I hope it was useful to you. Bye-bye.